From the PEP Radio Newsroom, we have this special report about Juneteenth. As people gathered across the United States to celebrate Juneteenth on Friday, former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama welcomed the first visitors to his presidential center. Located on a sprawling campus on Chicago's South Side, the center, honoring the nation's first Black president, has been designed to inspire people to make the change they want to see in their own communities. It's the kind of contemplation that also comes as Americans gather for Juneteenth, which celebrates the end of slavery in the United States. The holiday marks June 19th, 1865, when Union troops arrived in Galveston, Texas, at the end of the U.S. Confederacy Civil War, with an order declaring the state's enslaved people to be free with absolute equality. By then, 2.5 years had passed since the Emancipation Proclamation declared the freedom of enslaved people in the South. Juneteenth represents not just a commemoration of the end of slavery, but it's also part of the ongoing struggle for absolute equality and that ideal in American life, said W. Caleb McDaniel, a Rice University professor and author of the Pulitzer Prize-winning book, Sweet Taste of Liberty. The grand opening of the Obama Presidential Center includes days of events following Thursday's star-studded dedication ceremony. In addition to greeting visitors Friday, as the center opened to the public for the first time, the couple also read to children gathered there. The center's public opening arrives as a symbolic convergence of legacy and liberation. The nation is deeply divided politically and grappling with renewed questions about the arc of racial progress, as the Supreme Court hollowed out the Voting Rights Act, endangering Black political representation in Congress. The nearly 20-acre campus includes a museum featuring a life-size replica of the Oval Office, a garden designed by Michelle Obama, complete with lettuce, strawberry plants, a professional-grade basketball court, a picnic area with grills, and a new branch of the Chicago Public Library. Visitors can experience high-tech and hands-on exhibits spanning the campaign's key moments of Obama's presidency and life at the White House. The spaces are designed to bring people together on a campus expected to draw as many as 1 million visitors annually. But the center also aims to encourage personal reflection. Louise Bernard, the museum's director, has said they're inviting people to bring change home. However, change may be defined both small or large. What then is the history of Juneteenth? This is the 5th year since Juneteenth was designated as a federal holiday by former President Joe Biden, who served as Obama's vice president. But the celebrations, which began in Texas and then spread across the country, have a rich and long history in Black America, with the day often spent gathering for picnics and cookouts. The holiday, a combination of June and 19th, marks the day when U.S. Major General Gordon Granger and his troops arrived in the Texas port city with a Declaration of Freedom in General Order Number 3. As the 3rd year of the Civil War neared, President Abraham Lincoln had issued the Emancipation Proclamation, declaring the freedom of all persons held as slaves in the still rebellious states of the Confederacy. Though for many, it did not mean immediate freedom, but a promise of liberation to be secured with a Union victory. It really required the force of arms and the success of U.S. armies to enforce the Emancipation Proclamation, McDaniel said. About 6 months after Granger's arrival in Galveston, the 13th Amendment abolishing slavery nationwide was ratified. Juneteenth's birthplace is celebrating with a day-long gathering at a Galveston park with music and fireworks, a parade, and a worship service in a historic Black church. Nearby Houston lined up a number of musical artists and a domino tournament at Emancipation Park, established in 1872 by a group of formerly enslaved men. Hundreds of other cities across the U.S. announced events over the long weekend, including a parade in Atlanta, a bike ride in Los Angeles, and a festival on Martha's Vineyard. Several cities across the United States will host walks named for Opal Lee, the Texas woman who pushed for years to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. Participants will walk 2.5 miles to symbolize the 2.5 years it took for the Emancipation Proclamation to be enforced in Texas. Lee, known as the grandmother of Juneteenth, turns 100 this year. Thus, we continue to reflect on the continuing struggle. Black Texans embraced the date of Granger's arrival as one to celebrate, even as the Ku Klux Klan was established in Texas by 1868. By the 1880s, it was difficult to find a significant community in Texas where it wasn't being marked by African Americans, McDaniel said. They made it a community celebration. They made it a celebration of not only freedom, but also a demonstration of community empowerment and institution building, he added. Corey D.B. Walker, Dean of Wake Forest University's Divinity School, said the holiday offers a way to recognize the nation's complex history, what it means to be a U.S. citizen, especially amid efforts by President Donald Trump's administration to undermine the retelling of Black history. I think it really reminds people the importance of understanding a fuller, more robust portrait of our nation's history and the many contributions of many individuals who have contributed to America's experiment with democracy, Walker said. As a follow-up to this story, Trump, once again, ignores Juneteenth. President Donald Trump's public schedule for the day makes no mention of Juneteenth, and he has yet to acknowledge the federal holiday commemorating the end of slavery in the United States. His schedule only features a stop at Camp David and a meet and greet with U.S. Air Force service members at Joint Base Andrews in Maryland. On Juneteenth last year, Trump complained on social media that there were, quote, too many non-working holidays in America, end quote, and that they were costing the U.S. billions of dollars. It should be billions of dollars fewer than the war in Iran cost us, but I digress. His complaints came amid his ongoing crackdown on diversity, equity, and inclusion practices. And his silence around Juneteenth this year comes a day after an appeals court upheld his administration's right to remove a slavery exhibit from the site of former slave owner President George Washington at his former home. Then President Joe Biden designated Juneteenth a federal holiday in 2021. That's our special report on Juneteenth. We hope you have learned something from the information in this video and encourage you to continue learning more about not only our nation's past, but learn more about the struggles your own community is facing. Check out your local public library for more information about this historic topic or whatever other topics you may find helpful or interesting to you. Learn something new every day, folks. From the PEP Radio Newsroom, I'm David Moore.